On Sunday, the Falcons blew yet another lead. It was so painful to watch. They lost to the Chicago Bears, and there's a lot I want to talk about from this game. First of all, the Bears quarterback Mitchell Trubisky got benched. We'll talk about Nick Foles. The Falcons defense, I got a lot to say about them. But I want to start by saying that you would never, ever know that the Atlanta Falcons head coach, Dan Quinn, is supposed to be a defensive-minded head coach. It's so crazy to watch. The Falcons' defense is so bad. Even before the Bears came back and won the game, there were busted coverages, there were missed assignments, missed tackles. Such bad defense. It's kind of crazy. Again, I go like, how is their coach a defensive-minded guy? I don't understand. Now, I will say, in defense of Atlanta, they did have 7 guys out of the game due to injuries. They lost. There was no Julio Jones, their star receiver. No Caleb McGarry, their starting right tackle. They had 5 guys hurt on defense, 3 cornerbacks, including A.J. Terrell out with COVID. They had a linebacker and defensive end. So big losses on defense, absolutely for sure. But still, the Falcons had the lead. By the way, a 16-point lead with less than 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And the people keep saying, I keep hearing people say like, oh, can you believe the Falcons blew a 16-point lead in the fourth quarter? No, it was way, way worse than that. The Falcons had the lead halfway through the fourth quarter. They were up by 16 points, and they still lost the game. The Falcons defense kept giving opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to the Bears offense. It was kind of crazy. Now, the reason why Mitchell Trubisky, the Bears quarterback, got benched in this game was because he was repeatedly unable to take advantage of, quite frankly, the Falcons' mistakes. He was terrible at throwing the ball downfield. I mean, he had guys open multiple times, and he either didn't see them or wouldn't pull the trigger. There were times where, he had guys open vertically, and he's trying to throw the ball deep, and, he literally couldn't put enough on the ball to get it up and over defenders, where he literally doesn't have the arm strength to throw a high arcing deep ball. You go, dude, your arm talent's awful. Plus later on a 3rd and 2, Anthony Miller was wide open deep, should have been a touchdown. And Trubisky missed a wide open easy pass. Not to mention on a 3rd and 5 where there's a play where the Falcons had a busted coverage. Guy was wide open down the right sideline. I mean, guys, the Bears had a man wide open. Should have been an easy touchdown. And Trubisky didn't even see him. He didn't throw him the ball, but he didn't even see the guy was open. It's like, how do you not recognize a busted coverage where a guy is wide open down the right sideline and not even give him the ball? And I just cannot imagine how infuriating it was for the Falcons during this game. Trubisky processes the game at a terrible, incredibly slow rate. He's got a bad arm, throws a weak spiral. Most of his completions in this game were a bunch of slants inside on little tiny 5-yard throws. I believe there was a point for the Bears coaching staff where they hit a breaking point, realizing we have guys wide open deep, and our quarterback simply cannot hit those throws downfield. It's got to be frustrating for them. They had this. Not only that, Trubisky's final throw in the game was not vertically. He was throwing a little shallow crosser. Didn't even realize the linebacker sitting right there. Linebacker grabs it, picks it off. And the Bears realized, wow, we literally cannot succeed with Trubisky as our quarterback, whether we're throwing short, trying to throw it vertically, dinking and dunking. Nothing's working with Trubisky. We got to move on. And so they put in Nick Foles at quarterback. And Nick Foles stepped on the field immediately. His body language was better. He looked more confident. Now, he didn't set the world on fire. I want to be clear, Nick Foles was not the most amazing thing you've ever seen. Bears fans will tell you otherwise. But, the first drive for Nick Foles, in fact, on a 3rd and 6, it ended where he threw the ball into the end zone, and it got picked off. And you're like, that's kind of a weird, rather inglorious beginning to the Nick Foles era in Chicago. Now, later, Nick Foles had a big completion where he's extending the play, threw the ball, literally goes right through a Falcons defender's hands, lands for a completion for the Bears, but that really wasn't a play that should have been a completion. There were little moments like that where you go, Nick Foles really has a lot to be desired, but at the very least, he was way, way better than Trubisky, simply for the fact that he was finally throwing the ball downfield. It's like, thank you, goodness, please, at least the Bears have a quarterback who isn't just holding onto the ball, not throwing vertically to guys who are wide open downfield. I hope that Nick Foles is the answer long-term for the Chicago Bears. I'm not sure that he is. Time will tell. But 110% he is a much better option than Mitch Trubisky is. And I'm so glad that Nick Foles is now the quarterback, and Trubisky, in fact, is no longer the quarterback in Chicago. Now, the Falcons had an opportunity to win this game. It was an Atlanta ball. Atlanta had the ball, 1 minute, 53 left, down 4 points. And the Falcons were, in fact, even driving when Matt Ryan, the Falcons quarterback, threw an interception. It's like, oh, that's painful. The Bears are playing cover 2. Matt throws this corner route and just hangs the ball up in the air, almost as if he didn't see that there was a safety there. Like he didn't realize. It's one of the easiest interceptions the safety's ever going to have, where Matt Ryan's got to drive that ball against cover 2 to the sideline. And I just wonder, the Falcons at this point have a culture, really, of blowing leads. It happens so frequently in Atlanta that they blow a fourth quarter lead. It's got to be in their heads at this point where they're thinking, man, we're up. We can't blow this lead. We can't let what happened in the Super Bowl. We can't do what we did against the Cowboys. Now the Bears are like, we can't let what happened against Chicago. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy for Atlanta. And unfortunately, I believe they need to hit the reset button. They need a new coach. They need new leadership. They need to try and make some changes. It's crazy. The Falcons even had the ball, late in the game with the lead. Before the Bears took the lead, the Falcons had the ball, 4 minutes left. They were up 26-23, a 3-point lead. And the Falcons called 3 straight passing plays. Just completely crazy to me. I'm like, how do you they had a 22-second drive with the lead late in the fourth quarter, and they didn't try to run the ball one time. I'm like, what in the world is going on? They made no attempt to try to run time off the clock. It was insane to me. And this is a game where the Falcons were actually running the ball very, very well throughout this game. Run the ball. Take some time off the clock. Eat away some of the clock. I don't understand. Just a crazy unforced error for Atlanta. The Falcons are a mess. They need new leadership. And at this point, it's cliche, but it's actually true at this point. The Falcons have a culture of blowing leads. It's just awful. It's got to change. They need new leadership. And I feel bad for Falcons fans.